Hi, hi. How are you? I am good. I am cold, that is for sure. And I'm right now sitting in my closet, which is very professional of me, about to talk to you about loving someone struggling with addiction. Your loved one might seem put together on the outside. Most men and women who drink too much or suffer from substance abuse disorder hold good jobs and they earn a good living. Most of the time, they can help take care of the kids and household duties. And because they are so high functioning, it can leave you feeling nervous about sharing with your friends and family just how bad things have become. If we decide to use our voice and share with friends, family, and professionals about loving someone suffering from addiction, we might worry. Will they believe you? Will they blame you? What if they are in denial and passively listen to you, but they don't really hear you? What if they deny or they enable or they, like we said, blame you? Telling my parents that the man that I loved had a problem was a huge deal for me. For years, I kept this an issue. I kept his problem a secret. Now, sure, they could tell he would have a few too many drinks on Christmas or birthdays, but they really had no idea how much and how often he was drinking or using. And for me, there were 3 reasons I kept his disease close to the vest. And I'm wondering, can you relate to any of these? Number 1 is guilt. I think we feel guilty for betraying them. We feel like this is their secret to tell. But as you and I both know, secrets keep us alone and ashamed and feeling stuck. Keeping their disease a secret is letting addiction win. And you have every right to share with loved ones that you're struggling because you are struggling with this disease too. That's why they call addiction a family disease. For years, I worried, what if he found out that I told his parents he spends several nights a week drinking too much? Or that his drinking has turned into smoking pot and cocaine? The funny, charming man they all call their son was blowing through our life savings at the local liquor store. And if they confronted him, he would be so angry with me. And they did. They actually did confront him. And he was angry at me. But the more that I spoke about it, the more educated all of us became. And the more that this disease began to lose control. Maybe not over him, but over me. Reason number 2, protection. We love them, and we want everyone else to love them too. We want everyone to see the real person that we fell in love with and all of their wonderful, beautiful potential. We are their biggest fan. And when they are sober, they can be the most loving and wonderful person on earth. I wanted my friends and family to be my husband's biggest fan. I thought that if he felt loved and accepted, it might help him get sober. So I made it my JOB to let everyone know just how wonderful he was. I would laugh a little harder at his jokes when people were around. I would mention how smart he was and how much he loved his children. But there was also a part of me that wanted to protect his reputation because I didn't want to be embarrassed. I always felt like the black sheep of my family. And if they saw I had made a mess of my marriage, it would just validate the fact that I would never be good enough. Now looking back, I was taking on the responsibility of his addiction. I was allowing myself to believe that his choices to get sober, to tell the truth, and become a better man were somehow a result of how much and how well I loved him. The truth is, I could have had a body like Barbie, a mind like Margaret Thatcher, and a heart like Mother Teresa. Don't ask me why I picked those examples. I don't know. It makes no sense to me, but just go with it. Work with me. You can put in your own examples in there that probably make a lot more sense. But if we were basically supermodels and brilliant thinkers and leaders and the most compassionate human beings on earth, if we had that incredible combination, they still would have an issue with drugs and alcohol because their addiction and all the dysfunction that comes with it has nothing to do with you and me. And the third reason is because of endings. I didn't tell my friends and family that the person that I loved was struggling so badly with drugs and alcohol because I was afraid that they would tell me that I needed to leave. I loved him. I did. I know that you understand that it's not necessarily, it doesn't make sense why we love these people so badly when they're hurting us. But I did love him, and we had 3 babies together. I loved my home, and I loved the idea of like what we could be if we just got sober. But also the idea of leaving seemed impossible. How could I possibly give up and walk away? Where would I live? What would people think? How could I afford to be on my own? I didn't have a ton of friends. My earning potential was just a little bit more than what it would take to cover daycare. And my kids might blame me for breaking up a family. So how could I possibly make it on my own? The questions were way too overwhelming. And the more that I tried to answer those questions, the more afraid I became of being alone. In the end, I did tell my family and friends about the pain and suffering that we were going through. And I did end up leaving him. I came to the conclusion that other people's reactions to my life choices are not my concern. If they want to live in denial, if they want to try and blame me or justify his poor choices, fine. I know the truth. I don't need them to back me up. It would be nice to have their understanding, but I don't need it. I needed to get out of this marriage and get my kids out of this dangerous situation. And in the process, I became stronger than I ever imagined. And it was the best decision I ever made. And to this day, my kids, who are in their 20s and one is a teenager, they all thank me for leaving. And now, and it's been over a decade, people understand why I started to use my voice and why I fought like hell for my freedom. Because at first, they definitely all had doubts. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that leaving is for everyone. You'll find that out the more that you listen to these podcasts and join the community. I definitely do not subscribe to that theory. Your relationship doesn't need to end in divorce or separation. But I would encourage you to share your story with someone you can trust, whether that's a friend, a therapist, or this group. Because you do deserve to receive attention, and you do deserve to receive care, because you are suffering from addiction too, even if you're not the one addicted.